You are watching Macro TV, and we are still busy with Study Unit 2, Chapter 2 in Fourie and Burger, adding more components to aggregate expenditure. Today's video is all about government expenditure and taxation. Now, those two elements are the major parts of fiscal policy and the responsibility of National Treasury. That would be the Minister of Finance. Now, the key thing to realize is that decisions about spending and taxation are taken outside of the economy in the sense that they are independent of income. In our model, they are considered exogenous. So the government doesn't sort of spend as a function of income. They make their decisions about government spending independently of the level of income in the model. Government spending is typically purchasing of goods and services and spending on that, particularly the public goods and services that the government provides. Now, the textbook has a number of examples of this. Please have a look at that. So government spending can also be broken into its consumption spending and investment spending. So it's possible to have an investment term with the subscript G showing that this is the government portion of investment spending. Government spending has a direct influence on total real expenditure. You'll see in a moment that it simply gets added to total expenditure. And taxation has an indirect influence through its impact on the disposable income and in that way on consumption by the households. This is a graph from the textbook. The data is a bit old, but these numbers are still similar. You'll see that government spending has grown over the years, particularly the consumption part of spending where government capital formation has declined. And that, of course, is not a good sign for long-term growth potential of the economy. In our model, government spending, the G term, gets added as a horizontal line to our 45-degree line model. Remember, we have spending on the vertical axis and we have income on the y-axis, and government spending is independent of income. So just like you would do with investment, government spending simply gets added to this model. You can start off with your consumption term, C. We know that it has an intercept showing a minimum level of consumption even when income is zero. And the slope of this consumption curve is determined by the marginal propensity to consume. And then the additional elements, investment and government spending, simply gets added and the line moves up horizontally. Now, fiscal policy is the case where government uses its spending and taxation powers to influence the economy as a whole. So if government wants equilibrium income levels to increase, they can increase spending. So if they increase spending, total spending would increase and that would increase the equilibrium level of income. Or they can reduce taxes, which would lead to increased consumption spending, of course governed by the marginal propensity to consume. And this is considered an indirect way of influencing the income level. If they want to sort of reduce the speed at which the economy is growing and they want to sort of have a lower level of income, they can reduce government spending or they can increase taxation. Now, these are things that you need to look for in next week's budget speech. The minister will be delivering the budget speech in Parliament on Wednesday, and we can have a look at this and say, is government spending increasing? What's happening with taxes? And in that way, have an idea what would happen to production and income in the South African economy. The government sector provides important policy levers, and we'll examine them in greater detail once we've put together the whole ISLM module.